Howdy ho, everybody! I am Donut, and we are reacting to South Park. I am here. I've seen all of South Park of season 20-something.
I am watching it lines.
And you are?
Thermites.
Kitty.
Indeed.
This is season 2, episode 16. Not sure what the title is, actually. Merry Christmas, Charlie Manson.
Oh no, we just had a Christmas episode last season.
Yeah, it's been a year. We gotta have another Christmas episode. We had a Halloween episode last season, too. All right, any predictions for Merry Christmas, Charlie Manson?
Oh boy, I mean, I assume it is a parody of Merry Christmas, Charlie Brown with Charles Manson.
Okay.
I imagine we're going to get a Charles Manson musical number. Not sure if Mr. Hankey's going to be here. We already got him once a season. Maybe we fulfilled the quota. I don't know.
He's only allowed to come up for Christmas.
Oh no.
All right, let's get into it. If you want to see the full length for this one, you can actually go check it out now on the Patreon for $8 a month. Go check it out. If you want to get the next one early, you can do that too for $4 a month. Or you also get it for the $8. Let's jump into it. I've never said that. What would you rate this episode?
I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
Same. I was gonna give it exactly an 8 out of 10. I don't know. I might honestly like it better. Like, I think last episode was a very significant episode.
Okay.
Very important episode. But I think this episode I enjoyed overall more. So I might bump last episode down to 8 out of 10 and make this one a 9 out of 10,
okay.
Actually. I really enjoyed this episode. What's your favorite joke in the episode?
My favorite joke was probably, I think it was just Charles Manson changing the swastika on his forehead, which is carved in.
It's not a tattoo. It's not a tattoo.
But the making it a smiley face and then that just continuing on to the actual pictures.
Yeah. It's really good. The gag of using Charlie Manson's real face for like the news and everything and the books, but then him being a South Park character is really interesting. Like, I think they probably would have used his real face for this character, except they wanted him to be a lot more expressive and stuff.
Right.
Which is why they changed it. But I think their original plan probably was to just have it be Charlie Manson's face.
Okay.
Which might explain it. Because I do feel like normally they choose whether the person is going to have their normal human face or if it's going to be a caricature of them.
Right.
I don't know if we've gotten both before now.
Can't think of it thus far.
The pictures on the wall, by the way, again, I assume that's a Simpsons reference or something.
It's so consistent, and I feel like we've seen other photos before, but it seems to be just Cartman's family.
It's just Cartman's family that has the yellow picture up on the wall behind the couch.
Except for, presumably, there's one picture of, I think, great-grandma when she was young, and that's black and white.
Yeah. But it's specifically the one above the couch, which is why I assume it's a Simpsons reference. But I'm not confident on that. It could just be weird. I think my favorite joke. What was my favorite joke? I think just the rioting breaking out from specifically the kids tackling the SWAT team. That visual was hilarious to me. I do want to give a runner-up joke for where's Kenny? Oh, he's around. And he just walks right off. I have no notes for this episode.
Oh, really?
Surprisingly. Yeah.
I was going to ask, do you know what Charles Manson thought of this episode?
I don't know what Charles Manson
thought. Because he consumes a lot of media, so I assume he would have seen it.
Yeah, I actually have no idea what Charles... I would try and look that up specifically, but, at this point, Season 2 really did not have much of any kind of notes that I could find. But, yeah, I would also be very curious as to the reception of this episode and everything. But I couldn't really find anything like it. The only note I had was that, this episode was the first time where Cartman, or one of the boys, has their hat off.
Okay.
Cartman's the first of the boys we see with his hair. We also got the call back to the beefcake shirt, which I really appreciate. I love when there's the background stuff and like Kyle always has that picture with him and his elephant and the
Right.
and Cartman's pig on his, or no, it's the elephant and Sparky. I'm not sure if the pig is also in the picture or not, but I know he's got a picture of the elephant and a picture of Sparky. I'm not sure if they're the same. Sparky was his dog.
I think they're two separate pictures because when I envision his bedside, I do remember the one that is just him and the elephants.
Yeah. But okay. This episode. Actually, I'm curious. What were you gonna say first?
I was gonna say, like, I really appreciate Cartman's extended family. Yeah. And how, like, they only assigned, like, one of Cartman's quirks per person.
Yeah.
It was over the top, but it wasn't ridiculous. They didn't all feel the same.
Yeah. Like, I love the, him and his grandmother saying, I'm big boned, or he's big boned, in response to, calling him fat or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, both saying that in sync together. But yeah, just seeing, where he gets all of this from. And he is probably the best person in his family.
Yeah.
Like, arguably, he is the most intelligent, maybe. I mean, even as a kid, at least,
mm-hmm.
Not
sure
as an adult, but at least what it seems like they would have been at that age.
Right.
He seems smarter than them, which says a hell of a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And just overall a better person, which says a lot.
Yeah, I don't know what, if anything, he's inherited from his mom.
Yeah, his mom seems to be the real odd one out of the bunch there.
Yeah.
But maybe they all start out that way and they just slide down into the like the women of the family slide into the Cartman. But the males just dive head first. They're born Cartman.
I mean, it could also just be a Big Mom situation where they start off like Cartman and then they get really hot for a brief period of time and then they turn back into Cartman.
I can see it. Cause yeah, I don't think he really gets anything from his mom at all. His mom is incredibly submissive. Mm. She's very, I loved her. She's such an interesting character. Like her just standing like, my parents are dead, and her just like fully believe, all right, I guess his family's dead.
Yeah,
I guess they died yesterday, and she's just like. She's very submissive, even in the way she just goes with anything.
Yeah.
She accepts anything completely without question. Like, even as far like the abortion episode where like what she thought abortion was
right.
like completely different, and she just like didn't even question it at all. Didn't think anything weird of it. We got more of Stan's parents in this episode. Not much though.
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot going on with the Stan subplot. That was very, very beginning, very end. Mm-hmm. That's about it.
It felt like they were trying a lot this episode.
Yeah. Like,
the main reason I rated it an 8 out of 10 and not anything higher is because, like, there's a lot of good stuff, but there's also just a lot of stuff that didn't quite land.
Like, what particularly would you say?
Like, the Terrence and Phillip gags.
Yeah.
Everything. The football game. Like,
I like the football game.
By the way, are car chases sponsored in America?
No.
I wasn't sure if that was a bit based on real events or not.
No. Not that. I mean, in terms of the, a news station covering I wouldn't say a chase is covered by something, but they're making fun of, like, a news report covering a chase and then being like, well, we have to cut to commercial,
right.
So now commercials. So it is implying that, Cheesy Poofs, Coca-Cola is sponsoring this car chase or is sponsoring this criminal.
Okay.
But no, I get the point. It is weird cutting to commercials in the, it's never is good.
Yeah.
in a situation like that. But yeah, I actually liked the amount of stuff that was going. Like, there was not like a lot of different big plots going on,
mm-hmm.
but there was like a joke every minute.
Yeah,
there was not, or, I mean, less than that. But
I'd say it's probably 1 minute or more.
I guess the whole joke takes a bit. But like, there wasn't like a lull where I felt like there was. Sometimes in South Park, I do feel like sometimes there was like, this is like just pure exposition. There's not really anything funny about this. This is just kind of having to like move the plot along a little bit this episode. But I didn't feel like that was the case this episode, because it never felt like there was a plot they were trying to get to or to do. They were just kind of going along with it, and everything was just happening as it was, and it was fun, and it was just sort of like paced like a day rather than paced like a... South Park does a lot of time skips in each episode. They do so much, just like commercial, now we cut back, it's a different day, it's a couple days later, it's hours later, it's whatever. But this is very much so, aside from the beginning card trip, just following along in one day.
Right.
It's very different. Also, yeah, very different just being out of South Park for pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, apart from the very, very starts.
Yeah, which is very rare that we ever get that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least at this point. There was a lot of effort that was put into this episode, though. I really want to... Like, this episode really felt pivotal with them really wanting to do something. Like, it wasn't just, like, an idea they had. They had to be like, this is going to take a lot of effort. This episode is going to be almost entirely new assets.
Right.
There's going to be so much different angles and perspective shots and stuff going on. And, yeah, this really felt like an undertaking of them saying, like, we want to do, a big episode, quote-unquote. Mm-hmm. Regardless of this probably being not one of the least remembered episodes of season 2, I would imagine, at least for me. Mm-hmm. It felt like they were trying to do something really big for this episode. Yeah. Either way, when did you first learn about Santa Claus?
Do you mean just the concept of Santa Claus?
Santa Claus not being real? Santa Claus not being real. Yeah.
I was never actually told that Santa Claus was real.
Okay.
Like, I was raised just knowing that a Santa Claus was a thing that, that you do, like the Power Rangers.
Santa Claus was a thing you do like the Power Rangers?
Yeah, like, you can go out and meet the Power Rangers, but, like, they're not real.
I wouldn't say that's what you do with the Power Rangers.
What I wanted to do with the Power Rangers, or like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, you can go and meet them, but they're not real.
You can, but when somebody says, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, what immediately comes to mind is not meeting the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Like, I think there's a distinction between, like, you see something on TV and it's not real, and being able to actually, like, physically go and meet the person and you talk to your friends and they're like, oh yeah, I met the TMNT. And, like, that's an extra layer of also that's not real, but you do meet them and you don't talk about it not being real. It's just like,
yeah, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know if there's, like, a suspension of disbelief for kids with that. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Do you like, as a kid when I went to Disney World, I believed that a lot of the characters were real. Now, if I saw like Daffy Duck or something, I'm gonna be like, that ain't fucking Daffy Duck. I'm not stupid.
Right.
That's a mascot. I know what a mascot is, but that is Snow White.
Okay.
My kid brain didn't really make a connect. It's like, I'm not stupid. I know what a mascot is, and that was even after the point. I'm like, I know Santa Claus isn't real, but that is definitely Gaston.
Now, I was raised just in general to believe that, like, if you meet a character, it's like a representation of the character. It's not actually the character.
Yeah.
Because because either they're busy or they don't exist, depending on the character.
See, the thing, for me was, like, Santa Claus, I think I was around, like, maybe the beginning of middle school when I found out that, Santa Claus wasn't real, but then I had a little sister, so I kind of just, like, continued to go along with it, like, with very elaborate stuff, and I helped my parents with plenty of the stuff planning it, with that, and, like, the Easter Bunny and all that stuff. So, while I didn't, like, believe in it, even as a kid, I had that sort of, magic still by the nature of me helping make it magic.
Right.
Right? But yeah, so even after that point, I think the big thing with Disney World was that with Santa Claus, it's like, well, Santa Claus can't be in all these malls at once or whatever. So there was like a period of like, that's not Santa Claus, but Santa Claus is real. Okay. And then it's, okay, well, Santa Claus isn't real. But then there's the thing of like, well, the characters are only at Disney World. I don't know if Disneyland or just the concept they might be, dressing up as these characters somewhere else. So I'm like, well, it's only Disney World. They just live at Disney World in the Disney castle.
Okay.
It makes more sense than like Santa Claus living at the mall.
Right.
But yeah, it's just like, they live there.
Okay.
I see them out when they're home, and then they're out in the movies otherwise. Not like the character, like the movies are based off of the characters in real life. That sort of, I remember I went to Disney World so much as a kid, which is also why this is, why this is probably so weird for me in my mind. Like, no other character I really connected to being a thing in real life, as opposed to Disney characters, just because I continue to see them in real life very often. But yeah, I mean, and just in the way that Disney does everything with the parks is very suspension of disbelief as high as possible.
Right. It's
But yeah. What else? Charlie Manson this episode. I really liked him being so articulate and intelligent for as insane as he is.
like it felt like the gag was that they expected people to be offended, or like they expected people to come into the episode assuming that it was going to be a very crass Charlie Manson.
Yeah.
And so the big perspective flip was actually, no, we're not going to do anything weird with him. He's actually very normal.
Yeah, like it was all for again what they like to do for the Christmas episodes is we want to do a South Park episode, but we want it to be a Christmas episode, and that's what this was. It was, hey, it's Charlie Manson. Actually, Charlie Manson is not that, like, in their universe, Charlie Manson is not that awful. And, like, there's a message at the end of, like, yeah, there's Charlie Mansons out in the world, but people are generally good.
Right.
I actually appreciate that, you know, they try and do legitimate Christmas specials, you know, with that twisted South Park sense of humor. Yeah. But, yeah, I appreciate that. I guess that's all I have to say about this episode. I love the gag of switching states. I really love that gag. This was the first time we got a news reporter who wasn't really weird. And like before we got a normal one who had a weird name.
Right.
I can't remember what it was, but yeah, this time we just got, maybe because it's a, you know, Nebraska news reporter, but yeah, it was just like a normal guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, I guess. There was a ton of people from their school at the mall, which is really weird.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I'm not surprised you wouldn't notice it. I noticed it a lot. They hid them behind the crowd, but I can see the top of the head. And I can see some hairstyles that are very distinct. And I'm like, why are they here? This is 9 hours away. Yeah. But alright, that's it for this episode. I will see you guys for the next one. Until then, get the fuck out of here.